At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Central Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 501-244-3667, or visit our website at directserviceoverhead.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
All right. Get this microphone set up. Why aren't you set up microphone? There we go. We got her going now. Okay. It's Monday. I know it. 1 p.m. stream. See, these are they're kind of random, but I do appreciate you guys. And, of course, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, all that wonderful, fun stuff. Let's get to it. We're talking quarterbacks. We're going to talk a little bit about spring camp. So far, we got some Tiger news from Dave Van Horn today. I mean, literally right as I'm getting ready to go live. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Yo. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I know it was stressful. I know it was really stressful. Bama took Arkansas out to the woodshed in game 1 in baseball. I didn't panic. I think people really thought what happened Friday night was an indication of what was gonna happen in games 2 and 3. All things considered, with the bullpen, the injuries you've had to deal with there, and also not being not hitting the ball super well in game 1 and kind of struggling a little bit in Baton Rouge. Down at when you drop the series, although you took a game, I think that's saying a lot. When you drop the series to LSU, who, I mean, they are what they are, right? Go Hogs. What's up, John? How you doing? Austin. Yo, John Haas. What up, cuz? Yo, Ty. What's up, Scott? Tyler Kesterson? Oh, okay. Keystone has made it. That's who you are. Okay, welcome. Even Bama coach calling the Hogs. Yeah. Wasn't that great? My dad he was texting me about it and calling me about it. He was like, that is one of the greatest things ever. Yeah, and it looks worse because you dropped that series. Bama, I should say, drops that series. It's one thing if you do that and you win, right? Or you take 2 out of 3 or you sweep Arkansas. Then it's like, all right. It's still it's an asshole thing to do, but it was still kind of funny. Some people were triggered by it. I saw the comments. Some people were so mad, and I loved every second of it because it's just like, it's going to look worse for you, pal, if Arkansas takes the series. Arkansas does win. They take 2 out of 3, and big series win. If I recall correctly, Arkansas lost this series last year on the road and also lost to Bama in the SEC tournament down in Hoover. Again, correct me. You guys know how I be. Correct me if I am wrong. I'm pretty sure they dropped the series, and Bama beat you, I think, 3 out of 4 times when you played them last year, and yet you still went on to the College World Series. What did Bama do? Kind of reminiscent of basketball, isn't it? And it kind of feels like Bama, had they won that series again, oh, they own us. They're beating us in basketball. Arkansas finally gets things figured out with basketball with Musselman the last 3 years. And, of course, Bama hires a once-in-a-lifetime coach in Nate Oates. You see the job he's doing there. Say what you want about him. The decision-making this year with keeping a certain player, not punishing a certain player. Say what you want. On the floor, Nate Oates is a hell of a coach, okay? I'm just going to say it. He's a damn good coach. Win at all costs, sure. I think had that been most coaches in the SEC, I think even Bruce Pearl. Well, I don't know. That might be stretching a little bit. But they can't help themselves, says RD Miller. Yeah, that was fun. We're going to concentrate on quarterbacks. First off, shout out to our show sponsors, and of course Patreon supporters as well. I don't know if we actually crossed the finish line at 50 or not. I pull up the app and it says 51, but I pulled it up this morning and it said 49. We're going to find out. Like I said, this usually, I think it's either on the 5th or the 6th when I get the email and it updates me on the previous month's list of Patreon supporters. So I won't know if we passed 50 or not. Hoping we did. That's a major milestone. Like I've been telling you guys, I'm not so sure. But of course, our show sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, got some new uploaded a new picture late last month of some more work they've done. I'm telling you, you need some work done. You want to replace a garage door, hit up Direct Service Overhead. Affordable outcomes, quality parts, free estimates. They offer it all. Hundreds of 5-star reviews. 501-244-3667. If you want to set up a time for them. Free estimates. If you want them to come out, maybe you just need some light repair work done. Also, Apex Tattoo Studio. We got some new ink up. It was posted on the 27th of last month. Looks like a badass crusader missing an arm. It's pretty sweet, actually. That's pretty cool. And then, so they're located at 201 South 19th Street, Sweet Pea in Rogers, Arkansas. Walk-ins are welcome. Got some Mortal Kombat artwork in there as well. Tap-out sessions available. Mention Tuss Talk with Ty. You get 10% off. 479-278-2694. That's the Apex Tattoo Studio. If you want to, maybe you want to touch up. I'm just saying, they do good work. I love the art that they post, and then I share it in our Discord. What happened with the MSU assistant softball coach? I saw that. Apparently he flipped a base, or he picked up the first base and threw it. Fayetteville got to these people. Oh, I love Hog fans so much. Even if they take some things too seriously on Twitter. Yeah. Tomorrow's game, speaking of Razorback baseball, tomorrow's game is canceled. They're not going to reschedule for Wednesday. I kind of thought they might. I don't know why they wouldn't. Unless maybe Arkansas State has another engagement. Maybe they have another game for Wednesday. I'm not really sure. But Arkansas, that I was kind of excited for that one. And it is canceled. So that sucks. Was kind of waiting on that one. I know some people are like, who cares, Arkansas State. It is a midweek game, and you might be avoiding potential embarrassment. But then again, Arkansas State, I don't think is very good. Where's Austin at? Austin, tell us how good or bad Arkansas State is. Are you in chat? Are they really bad? What's going on with A-State? But Arkansas has lost to some pretty rough opponents in those midweek matchups. So you might be, I don't know, you could be avoiding that nonsensical Arkansas State trash talking. I don't know what it is, man. Arkansas lives rent-free in Arkansas State fans' heads. What's up, Ty? How late am I? Hey, we're just kicking things off, man. We're just going. It was nice to take that Bama series. Our bats had me worried game one. Yeah, right. Pigpen Woo Pig Sui says, is Enos offense considered the spread? Didn't know if it was if he was RPO, play action type of guy. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. They're really, really bad. I'll be honest, I don't put a lot of work into midweek games. I'll sometimes I'll go over to D1 baseball and kind of look at what's going on. If it's a good midweek opponent, or if it's a midweek opponent that might be on a win streak and you kind of catch wind of, I might go and like, okay, what are they doing? What's going on? D1 provides you a lot for free. So again, they're obviously not sponsors here, but I would recommend like just wandering over to d1baseball.com for anything that you need. Worse than SEMO. Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Let's get to player of the week. How about this? Tavian Josenberger. Player of the week, and that's not either. That's not SEC player of the week. That is straight up Tavian Josenberger. Holstenbarger. He is player of the week. That's awesome. Good for him. He was getting on base, doing it all. Doing it all. Good for him. Made some plays. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm like a lot of people. A lot of concern with the bullpen when you consider the injuries, right? But hopefully they can get it figured out. Josenberger, if he's going to continue to play that way at the plate, defensively, doing what he's doing, you love that the guys you expected to show up this week didn't really at the plate, not all series long, and you still found a way to take the series. That's a good sign. It's a good sign too because I think your bullpen actually did a decent job pitching you out of some trouble. Alabama's good, man. They're not. I think are they still ranked top 25? Do we have those ranked? I'm sure they are. I mean, they came into Fayetteville and gave them a hell of a run. I didn't actually look that part up. I didn't look at the rankings. Did Arkansas move up at all? Do we have what's this new top 25 look like? Arkansas's at 6, so this was updated. No, this isn't new. This is March 28th. And Bama at one point in time was ranked on D1. Were they not? I thought at one point they were like 22nd. So this says as of March 28th. So it's still a little bit behind. I guess D1 just kind of updates their list whenever. But yeah. Arkansas is 6th on that list at 23-5, 6-3 in conference play. So yeah, we know that's 1, 2. Well, hold on though. They've got the that's the right record. 1, 2, 3 because you swept Auburn. Yeah. That's the right record. They don't have Arkansas State marked down as canceled yet, but they will. Arkansas next up. They leave Fayetteville. That sucks. They're gonna go play Ole Miss at Oxford. We'll see how that one turns out. We'll see how that one goes. They will play Ole Miss at Oxford. They're 16-11 currently, 1-8 in conference play. Now, they start off the year okay. They also played Arkansas State. They started off the year 4-0, beat Delaware. I say okay. Just talking about records. 4-0. They took Maryland, 2 out of 3 from Maryland. They split Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech's salty. Did they have a makeup? So they played Maryland 4 times? Why did they play Maryland again? They went to this Cambria College Classic and they swept. They beat Maryland, Minnesota, Nebraska. They beat Southern Miss. We know when they're at their best, that's a pretty good baseball school. They swept Purdue. And then they lost to Jacksonville State 10-6. Where heads started to turn was when they got swept by Vanderbilt. Then they got swept by Florida. Vanderbilt was on the road, and then Ole Miss got swept at home by Florida. Their Southern Miss second matchup against Southern Miss apparently was canceled, and then they lost 2 out of 3 to A&M. But they beat A&M in Game 2, 14-7. So I would put my money on Arkansas. On the road, Arkansas is 0-1 in terms of series matchups. So, yeah. Josenberger was our one consistent live bat all series. Yeah, even Friday. Also came up with 2 huge home runs. Yeah. What's up, Kelly Williams? How you doing? Hey, you guys make sure you like, share, subscribe. Do me that favor. All right? Do me that favor. Now, the way YouTube does this, here comes an ad. Don't get mad. Here comes an ad. Don't hold it against me. Okay. So got that out of the way. I don't like it. I'm telling you guys, it puts it all on me. It's like, hey, you have to push the ads now. Like, wait, but why are you pushing ads anyways in live streams? But apparently it's the only way they want to monetize content now for content creators that do lives. I'm telling you, YouTube just does not want, they don't want lives. They don't push them as much. They're putting all the pressure on the content creator. It's kind of bullshit. Not going to lie to you. Not digging it. But I'm going to continue doing these because, sponsorships and Patreon supporters. Is UConn the best? Let's see. Is UConn the best looking team we have seen in the last 5 years? Dominant down low. Sticky D. Many shooters. They seem very good overall. I thought Miami would give them a better challenge, and they did. I think for a little bit. I mean, they were able to bring it within 10 in the second half. I caught bits and pieces of it. UConn just kept pouring it on, not missing shots, great shot selection, doing what they do, man. I mean, they are really good. If they beat the Breaks, if they win the Natty and it's not even close, I don't know. And also, you have to look at the bracket. You have to look at this year's who all went, to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, and Final Four. It didn't turn out the way anybody thought that it would. Who the hell would have thought the bracket would turn out looking like it did? Just crazy, right? I mean, insane. I think this is one of the wildest years in NCAA tournament history. I'm trying to pull up my damn bracket here. San Diego State, UConn. You've played both of these teams. You beat San Diego State. You guys remember how that one finished? Dramatic. And here we are. San Diego State is playing to win it all. Now I think, I'm going with UConn. I picked Miami because everyone else was picking UConn. I thought, what the hell? I knew they weren't realistically going to win. I need XP, man. I need XP. And I thought in our Discord challenge, for those of you that are in there, I needed some XP. And I thought, okay, I'm going to predict the score, and I'm gonna take the shocker here and gain a lot of experience and crack my way back into the top 3, top 5 in our XP challenge for this cycle. Now, it's over with tonight. We're gonna reset. Probably not. I don't know about after the game. It might be tomorrow, or it might be right after the game's over. I think that's what I like that idea. It adds a little bit more drama to it. As soon as the game's over, we're gonna reset the XP. So we had some shakeups over the weekend thanks to the Wheel of Destiny. Now, just because we're resetting tonight, by the way, for those of you who are involved in the XP Wheel of Challenge, or the Discord XP challenge, it doesn't mean that we're starting the new period, the new cycle immediately after. That's not what's going to happen. We'll have to set up a new date. We'll start using baseball as our predictions more often. So, yeah. But tonight, and I don't have that up yet, that will be up. That'll be our final challenge, and it's for this cycle anyways, for San Diego State and UConn. And we will hit the reset button. I think we're going to do it immediately after. I think that's when we're going to do it. And, San Diego State and UConn. Who would have thought? 21 Baylor was incredible, too. Yeah, 21 Baylor was a really good team. Ty, can I hop in with an off-the-subject question real quick? Need your opinion. I'll do the best I can. If you're going to ask me something off the wall and I haven't thought of in a while, I can't make any promises, but do your best. Christopher Harper says, Ty, watching Bay fall in the McDonald's All-Star game, it looks like Arkansas got another offensively challenged 5-star. You might be right. I don't know. I didn't catch much of that game. I saw some of the highlights. I don't know. You might be right. Could be on to something. All right, the point of this, I wanted to talk a little bit about the quarterbacks, and I have been watching Dan Enos a lot. I have been around Dan Enos a lot. I say been around. I've been on the sidelines where the quarterbacks are, and you could kind of hear what's going on. You're kind of like pointing your ear out, trying to hear what Dan's saying, and sometimes he's just right out loud, and he's leaving it all out there for everyone to hear. What I have noticed out of Dan, does a really good job, I think, of conveying to the quarterbacks exactly what he wants them to hear. He doesn't bounce around like kind of what he wants. He just tells them straight up. And something I've noticed too, and I'm so glad that the University of Arkansas put out a video that I'm going to play for you here in a minute. It's like a minute and a half long. I want you guys to watch it if you haven't already seen it. But it's Dan Enos talking with his quarterbacks. And it's so cool because some of the stuff that he says, I didn't hear at that moment when they were recording, did I hear him say those exact words, but it's some of the same verbiage. It's the same talking points, the same thing that he's drilling into these guys. And where the quarterbacks are, and I've talked to you guys about this before last week, actually, all the way down the north side of the practice field, you have the defensive linemen, linebackers are in the next group. You have the running backs right there, and then you have the quarterbacks right there, and further down all the way to the south side of the practice field, you have the tight ends. And I watched the tight ends a little bit last week as well. I got some footage of Luke Haas. If you guys haven't seen that short, I uploaded it. Got to watch them do some stuff, some mostly blocking drills is what the tight ends are focused on. But I try to hang around the quarterbacks as much as I can and watch them, going through their steps, right? But here's something the U of A just dropped. They just released this today. I think it was today. I just saw it today. So I want you guys to check this out. Kind of gives you a better idea of what it is that we're all seeing. Those of us that are allowed in to the practice. Here you go. Hopefully I have the volume on here. Hold on. We're going to play that again. Here we go. Enos talking to his quarterbacks and kind of working with them. You guys, it's like I said, it's only about a minute and a half long.
What do you guys want to do? I know what you guys want to do. You guys are all acting shy now just because the camera's in here. When you watch a team all week and you pull off all the clips when the other team went past, you can find out what they carry in their arsenal. Being under center, you got to make sure you do what with the ball. You got to seat the ball and make sure you know who's right behind you. Just act like I'm saying something really important. Good, perfect timing. Deep B, keep it high. Good job, guys. You got Will thinking like he's got drip. Fast guys wear short pants. Wrist above elbow and then lock them now. Keep your head up too, don't look at the ground. Call them out. Warm up the right way. Become a passer, not a thrower. I was watching you the other day. Be more violent with your hip through. More violent. Think violent. Ball! That's perfect timing. They ain't gonna defend that. Hey, whoa. Pickle juice, here we go. Everybody needs a pickle. We wanna try to get a little hitch in our get along, but we don't wanna be out of control. Quick feet. Stay over the top. There we go. Let's go, Fortnite. I think I disconnected you. Good job, man. Did you see your foot? Your foot was just like that. I just imprinted it right there. That's what it's about, man. You throw with your lower half. Good. Hello! I'm gonna swallow my gum. How do we read it though? Short. And it's 3rd and 5 and he's sitting there. Boom! Just take it, right? Overall, guys, it was way better, and I thought we did some really, really, really good things. Take care of your body, make sure you eat right, make sure you're rested, make sure you're in the right frame of mind Saturday when we get ready to go. Okay? You got them. Thanks.
All right, there you go. There's Dan Enos, just giving you a little bit of a taste. I like that they released that. Thought that was good on them. That was cool, and I hope we get more of that. I love that kind of content. I know over the years they'll show like players in their drills and doing their things and making some crazy catches. I hope we get to see more of that through spring camp so you guys can see it. I try to film what I can when I'm there, and sometimes it's too little too late. By the time something really cool happens, you've put your phone down, And then too, there's times in practice where they don't let you film, right? It's typically periods 1 through 4, sometimes 1 through 5. Early in spring camp, it was like 1 through 7, 1 through 6 when they let us stay that long. When they let the media and those folks stay that long. Yeah. Talking about his footwork, and that's what he goes over. And I've been telling you guys in Patreon chat, I've been telling you guys in Discord. That's something he just hammers into these guys. He's working on their lower half, their throwing motion, but their lower half, where he talks about it all starts from the lower half, and I like that. I've heard him say that over and over, and just kind of really drilling it into the back of their heads. Footwork matters a lot. All right, so Lone Sportsman Outfitters. Your opinion, oh boy. Yeah, okay. This is a little off topic. We will segue to the quarterback talk, but I will answer this question because I already made a comment about it on Twitter. Your opinion on the Reese Clark mumbo jumbo going on about the Cena hand in the women's national championship game. I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. Like, anyone who's watched my show long enough, by the way, 1 million views, ding. You guys know I don't care. Now, is there such a thing as carrying it on too far? Was at that point in time when the game's over, now you're rubbing it in? Are you now crossing a line? Maybe. I don't know, man. I just, it didn't bother me. And I kind of thought, and I didn't realize initially when I put that tweet out, she was doing that as the game, I think there was like 10 seconds left. The game was clearly over. LSU won pretty easily. And she was putting her hand in the, what's her name? Clark. They were putting, I'll be honest with you, I didn't keep up with any of the women's tournament. I just, too much going on with the men's team and all that. Hasn't Clark been doing that? Again, is that her name? Is it Clark? Yeah, Clark. Doesn't she have kind of a reputation for doing that same thing? And if so, why are people so pissed off? Now, I'm not buying that it's all like racial undertones. Oh, people are upset because a young black female was doing it. Maybe some were. I don't know. I think had that been anybody, I think mostly, especially coming from Arkansas fans that I saw that were mad about it, it's the fact that it's LSU. Has more to do with LSU. I think that didn't have to be, it could have been any color doing that. I think some people just don't like seeing that. Now, I do recall when Clark did it, I do recall people being pissed off about it. I do recall, didn't matter the color of the avatar on Twitter, people were pissed off when she was doing it. So I don't mind a little bit of shit talking. I really don't. As long as you're not taking it too far. Did she take it too far when the game was basically over and like tracking her down and doing that? Okay, that's probably where I would draw the line. Like, all right, let's not. That's probably not cool. But again, Clark had done that sort of shit. I don't care at what point in time in the game when you're doing that, you're still doing it. So it's hard for me to really feel sorry for Clark. Hell of a player. Best player in that tournament. Best player in women's basketball. I did catch some highlight clips. She's pretty extraordinary. She's really good in the women's game, man. All the respect in the world to her. I do think maybe at that point in time in the game, and who knows what kind of shit talking was going on during the game. I don't know. I think people are just way too triggered by all that. Like, whatever, if you're LSU, you love it. If you hate LSU, you hated it. I don't buy it. I kept seeing that, like, oh, if she were a white girl, you wouldn't. Yeah, no, I think they would, because some people just don't like seeing that form of being cocky after you've already when the game's won. I mean, when you're that far ahead, I don't think people like it. It's no different than when in football, when a team's getting their ass kicked. In the corner, we see it all the time. The DB on the losing team makes a big play, and he gets up, and he's, whatever. He's talking shit. He's waving his hands around, whatever the hell. People get pissed about that. Like, bro, look at the scoreboard. Shut the hell up. So I don't buy that. I think it's just there's certain points when fans, and I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but there are certain points in games where fans are going to have a reaction. If that were happening, I think, in the first half, it wouldn't have been newsworthy. No one would care. You'd still have your loud mouths, And I'm not saying that all people, took race out of it. I'm sure there was some racist asshole that had a problem with it. He's a racist asshole, whatever. But I think the majority of people just don't like it when it goes too far, and then they take it to Twitter. If it bothered you, then I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry, I guess, but it didn't bother me. I just don't care. And what I mean is that didn't bother me. When I saw it, I was like, well, they won. She's got the right to do that. Now, again, I didn't realize she was doing that when the game was basically over. I didn't realize that that's when it happened. Outrage society, too many bored people. God, Twitter, I'm telling you. Got to be triggered about something. Got to be mad about something, man. It's just, it is what it is. I was taught good sportsmanship. That said, my boxing coach taught me that good sportsmanship is for the losers. I do believe in good sportsmanship, but I also don't mind a little jawing. I don't mind a little bit of back and forth. I don't care. Like, I'm cool with it. It also shows Because let's be real, this generation, right, of those kids, ages 18 to whatever, 23, 22, they have a reputation, right, for just not really caring, always having their phones in their faces. But I mean, who doesn't, right? I do. They just have a reputation, and it's good to see that generation being impassioned about the sport they play. That's what I love seeing, man. I talk my fair amount of shit. I did in every sport, especially if I thought I was good, which wasn't very often. I talk my shit. I mean, if you didn't like it, go cry to the bleachers. Go sit on the bench. I don't know. All right, let's get into this quarterback talk. Let's do this. Let's get in. Again, if you disagree with me, that's fine. I really, at the end of the day, don't care. I mean, I really don't. I mean, it's a sport that I didn't cover. I'll be honest, I didn't watch much of at all. I was in the thick of it with football and basketball. And now we're segueing into baseball. I will cover it a little bit more. And now we're into spring camp. I didn't pay much attention to women's basketball. Mike Neighbors, I don't know what to make of that situation. Gonna be, I don't know. I don't know what the right move is here if I'm Hunter Yurchek. But all right, moving off that topic. Let's move off of it. Let's get into the quarterbacks. Let's talk about the QBs. Again, if I offended you in any way, I'm not trying to, but we'll just have to agree to disagree. I know someone's going to come along and Ty, what she did was outrageous. Okay, well, cool. Let's talk about the quarterbacks of the depth chart, what it looks like at the moment, where I think they're at right now in terms of the depth at quarterback. Now, I want to do more positions. In the next group, I'm really focused on. Of course, running backs would probably be next. Really want to dive into tight end talk. We were talking about tight ends in our Patreon chat a little bit today, and I've thought about doing this for a while, but just doing kind of an assessment of each position. I don't know that I'll do them all, because we're still kind of in wait-and-see mode. Like, we know they're probably going to offer 2 defensive tackles out of the transfer portal. Tight end might get sticky, too, because I still think they're going to go after an older tight end. I know they got Nathan Bax in the room. I know they got Bax there, and maybe that is going to be their senior voice, right? He's going to be that guy. Maybe they're fine with that, but Pittman has said at least once, maybe twice, that they may still be looking for an older tight end in that group because they're really young. So we'll get to those groups when we do. Who do I like at QB number 1? God, I wonder. I'm going to shock you. KJ Jefferson's going to get dethroned by Jacoby Criswell. I'm kidding. I did it again. I shouldn't have done it. I did it again. I'm kidding. Of course I'm kidding. Criswell has made improvements, but KJ Jefferson is absolutely QB1 up there right there. See it up there? Can you see it on your screen? There he is. Right there. There's KJ. QB number 1. No doubt, KJ Jefferson's your guy. We're going to leave him right there. Got you again. KJ last year, the last couple of years, since he really kind of took over, we know his freshman year wasn't super great. 14 to 31, 45% pass completion ratio, no touchdowns with an interception. 2020 comes along, and we see hope. We see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel in that Missouri game where he looked great. Overall, he finishes 20 of 41, 48% completion ratio, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, all of which in that Mizzou game. If I think I'm remembering that right. He had a 68-yard completion from the line of scrimmage, overall rating of 133.4 according to ESPN. We knew, and I said at that point, KJ Jefferson, what he did against Missouri, a salty defense at the time, considered one of the top 3, top 4 defenses in the SEC, one of the top 20 in the country. On the road, what KJ was able to do, Felipe Franks, remember, he didn't know he was the guy until they were warming up. Pretty sure you could see where they walk up to him and they're like, hey, you're the guy. He's literally throwing the ball. From that moment on, I was bought in. And I also remember telling people, like, you can't overreact to what happened in 2019. You cannot overreact to it. You have to let these quarterbacks build, develop, mold into what they can be. I don't know how many of, not you guys necessarily here in chat, but how many people who probably no longer watch my show because I proved them wrong on this very touchy situation at the time. I know I lost viewers because I called them out on it. I said, pump your brakes on KJ. And then you saw what happened in that Missouri game, and then you started to see fans start to buy in. I was critical of KJ, I'll admit it. There were times, coming out of his freshman year where I wasn't entirely sure, but I also remember saying, let's not give up hope on what he's capable of doing. Now here we are several years later, and he's been great, and he's built on what he did back in 2020, his one performance that we got to see. Then you go into 2021, again, his one starting performance. You go into 2021, KJ, wow. I mean, what a baller KJ was. 2676, 2,776 yards, 21 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions with a quarterback rating of 164.7. He ran the ball really efficiently in 2021 as well. 664 yards. He had over 3,000 total yards of offense, which in this day and age for a quarterback is kind of like, it's not as big of a deal as it once was, but I thought all things considered, that was a really big deal for him. And again, you remember what we heard in 2021. Oh, well, it's Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks was why he was so great. That's why KJ was so fantastic. It was because of Treylon Burks. And then 2022, he does almost, identical season, only with more touchdowns, 24 total touchdowns, or 24 passing touchdowns, in 2022. And this is without Treylon Burks, without a first-round draft pick. Just 5 interceptions. 640 yards again and nine touchdowns. Over 30 total scores. Remember, Ryan Mallett did that? Over 30 scores. Of course, his were all majority passing. I think they were all passing, actually. We thought the world of Ryan Mallett. Ryan Mallett, that's All-American. That's a potential first-round draft pick. He had over 30 touchdowns. What happened, right? Tyler Wilson kind of entered the conversation. We kind of talked less about Mallett, but still, that performance was admirable. That was incredible. KJ did the exact same thing, right? 2022, 9 total rushing touchdowns with 24 passing touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. I think he did have a couple of fumbles given away, but his turnover ratio was still single digits. If I remember that right. KJ earned the right to be in the conversation to be one of the greatest quarterbacks Arkansas has ever produced. He's earned that right. He's in that conversation. Now, you guys know me. I'm a Matt Jones. Matt Jones, to me, is the greatest. He's the greatest quarterback Arkansas has ever had. That's just my opinion. In terms of what he did as a playmaker, not as a passer. Ryan Mallett, I think, is the greatest passer. Brandon Allen's in that conversation. Tyler Wilson's in that conversation. Joe Ferguson, if you want to go far enough back, is in that conversation. In terms of what they did for their team, Quentin Grovey is in that conversation. But KJ, assuming he stays healthy all year, he's going to break some records, and he's going to go down, I think, as one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. So, yeah, he's obviously QB1. No doubt about it. He also played less games in 2022. That is also correct. He played he missed, and he also played hurt against Liberty. He was clearly not 100%, although I don't want to hang that up as an excuse. So who's QB2? Well, we already popped his picture up, but there he is, Jacoby Criswell. Let's see if I can make that bigger. Put it over here. Well, actually, if you want to make it better, just cover up my face. There you go. Jacoby Criswell's QB2. I think that's the way this is going to end up going. I think when we come out of spring camp, that's going to be the assessment. Now, this is going to be fluid because Cade Fortin keeps getting – I've seen Cade Fortin take a number of reps at the QB2 spot. Criswell, I think, is throwing a little bit better ball now, not comparatively to anybody, but just overall, I think he's throwing a little bit sharper ball. Criswell he's starting to look settled in. He's starting to look like, oh, okay, that's the guy. That's maybe the guy we thought we were getting right there. There he is. Not always consistent. I kind of wonder sometimes, you watch him throw the deep ball. It's not always pretty, so a lot of work to do, a lot of work left to be done. And again, there's just not much you could take from spring camp. It's really going to be what they look like in the red-white scrimmage. You could take some of that and diagnose it, right? You can go all Mr. Detective on it and really break down how they look in the spring camp, in the red-white scrimmage. But even then, you have to take with a grain of salt. It's really not until these guys step on the field and get a few games under their belt. But Criswell, if he's still the guy at QB2, which I think will probably end up being the case, he's not going to get and you don't want him to get a large sample size because then that means KJ's out, right? Then you're in trouble. I will say it's KJ by a country mile, right? As it should be. You would be concerned right now if I was telling you KJ and Criswell. You'd be really concerned if I was saying that Criswell's right on his heels. That would not be a good thing for KJ. And again, there's not much you could take from this assessment because we're talking about, just 3 weeks of spring camp. But still, you'd be worried. QB3 at the moment for me is Fortin. Right there. That's the guy. I think he's right now QB3. You're talking about a 15th year senior. Okay, he's getting his PhD in playing football. I mean, good kid. I like him. You could tell he's there to learn. I think he's a pretty good QB3 option. And then, of course, last but not least is Singleton. But before we go any further, let's pull back up to Criswell here. Jacoby Criswell does not have a large sample size at all when you talk about 2020, 2021, and 2022. In 2020, he got to throw the ball 4 times. He was 3 of 4, and he had an interception. Better make sure that pauses. That stupid video that's going to start playing. 2020 was 3 of 4, 75%, 16 total yards passing with only a pick. 2021 comes around. Remember, North Carolina had a couple of studs at quarterback come in and pass him up. It's kind of hard to fault Jacoby Criswell when they get these 2 quarterbacks back-to-back and they pass him up. But 2021, 13 to 21, almost 60, right at 62%, 179 yards, a touchdown. His longest throw from the line of scrimmage was 47 yards. And then 2022, he was 2 of 6 for 9 yards. That's the sample size we have at Jacoby. It's not real large. He's not had he's never been a full season starter. We know he's from Morrilton. You're kind of rooting for him because he's the Morrilton kid who came back. But yeah, KJ lost anyway, and obviously there's still plenty of time. KJ came in, people were saying last year he came in looking a little heavier, and I kind of thought he looked the same. A little thinner. I thought he looked a little thinner. Dudley Dawson agreed with me at the time. So there we go. We have Fortin at QB3. Of course, you guys know who's QB4. But Cade Fortin did get an opportunity last year, and he lost it. He ended up 14 to 29, 48%, 1 touchdown. Throughout his career, he's thrown just 2 passing touchdowns and 3 picks. 2018, who was he with? Was that North Carolina? 2018. He was 32 of 65, 388 yards for a touchdown and a pick with a rating, and that's on the year again, with a quarterback rating of 101.4. 2022, this last year with Arkansas, he finished with a 98.8 rating. Again, that's according to ESPN. So that's where we're at with him. And then, of course, Malachi, who's covered there. Oh, I'm going to have to shrink. How did that happen? Are we just going to have to move him here and do it like that? Is that how we're going to do that? There we go. Malachi Singleton, who at times throws an absolutely gorgeous football. I don't know if it's consistency. At times he does look a little, one of my gripes, and I didn't mention this about Criswell, pardon the hair. I didn't mention this about Criswell. Criswell hangs onto the ball a lot. I've seen him kind of, when they do one-on-ones, he looks like he hangs onto the ball and he hesitates to throw. I've seen Singleton do that a little bit as well. It's really just these guys trying to get in sync with the receivers. That's going to take time, which is why it's so huge that both Singleton and Criswell are on campus. Singleton and Criswell actually similar in height, both 6'1". Jacoby's, what is he listed at? I know ESPN has him at 225. Malachi listed at, where's my sheet? I have a sheet. Is this my sheet? Yeah, this is it. Hold on. What does the sheet say? KJ's at 6'3", 246. That would shock me. Like, if I saw him stand on a scale and that come up to 240, he doesn't look almost 250 pounds to me. This is like week 1. Cade Fortin, 6'3", 215. Malachi Singleton, 6'1", 232. And Criswell, where are you, Criswell? 6'1", 224. So they're identical in size. Malachi, if you watch any of his recruiting footage, God, he fits the veer and shoot. He fits Kendall Browell's veer and shoot so well. I mean, it's similar, very similar to what he played. Of course, everyone plays that RPO action in high school, but I think he could potentially – I think he has a high ceiling. I always wondered about him if he was just built for that veer and shoot for the Kendall Browell's offenses, which is why Kendall went all in on him. And how does he mesh with Dan Enos? Now, at the moment, just because I have him at the 4 doesn't mean he's staying there. I think natural talent, he's got it. He's built like a running back, obviously 6'1", 225. He looks like he can kind of run like one. He's not afraid to lower his shoulder pads, try to beat you off a cut. Like that's the kind of runner he is. A little bit different than KJ. KJ, we all know he's a physical runner. He's going to try and run through you, more so than he is going to try and run around you. That's just kind of who KJ is. Malachi can dance a little bit. Malachi's got a little bit more agility, right? When you're talking about like in the hips, he can kind of move. You think he looks sometimes like a running back with the ball in his hands, whereas KJ looks more like well, in the beginning, I always thought he ran like a linebacker with the football, but he's gotten better. He looks a little bit more seasoned as a runner when he's got the ball and he's trying to tuck it and run. Malachi could break into the top 3. I feel like at the moment that's where Malachi's at. He's at that 4 spot. And that's a good spot. I think that's a good spot for him. He's going to learn. Look who he's behind. And that's the other thing we don't talk enough about. He's behind KJ Jefferson. He's behind Criswell. He's behind Cade Fortin. These are all upperclassmen. These are all seniors. Criswell's a redshirt. He's a redshirt junior, right? Isn't that what he is? Redshirt junior. That's who he's behind. These are the guys that he's going to be learning from. And on top of, combined with Dan Enos. I think that sets him up pretty nice. I think that sets him up for the future pretty nice. In this day and age, you're always worried about these guys transferring. I have not heard anything that would suggest that he wants to transfer, but it could take him a year or two before he breaks into that mold of being someone who could compete for the QB1. I think he's still a step behind right now, even just for QB2 or QB3. I think at the moment, that's probably where I'd put him as a QB4. So there you go. KJ obviously is your guy. Jacoby Criswell at the moment is at the 2. I'm telling you, him and Cade, that might be an interesting battle, by the end of spring camp. And then Malachi Singleton, who, I think maybe it's consistency. It's obviously there might be a learning curve there because he's going from high school to – he's the only one of the bunch that's going from high school to college. So naturally, and that's one of the reasons, that's a big reason why I have him at the 4 right now, is because you've got these guys who have started. You've got these guys who have been around, just in terms of, Power 5, big-time college football. So that's really – and also based on what I've seen in camp. Wouldn't shock me if Criswell takes that 2, or if he holds on to the 2. Wouldn't shock me either way. It wouldn't surprise me if Malachi climbs his way back up to the top. You know what I mean by the top. Behind KJ is what I mean, climbing his way back up to the top. But, yeah, they're setting I think they're in a really good position here with the quarterbacks. Like, at least between what you have now with your 1 and your 2 and what you could have beyond just this season. Criswell, the expectations will probably be that Criswell will be the guy. He's going to be the next guy up. That's going to be the assumption by us. By either fans, media, whatever. fat mouths on YouTube. The assumption is Criswell's going to be that guy, and I still think we're a long ways away from that actually for anyone to believe that he is absolutely QB1 next year, because we've still got to get through this year. We've got a long ways to go. Doesn't mean that he won't be. Doesn't mean that he can't be. I certainly think Criswell also has it in him to be pretty good, to be a pretty special quarterback. But we'll see what the rest of this spring camp unfolds for these guys. Man, you got to love the position you're in, though. Again, Singleton kind of came in. If you want my opinion, he came in at the right time. He's behind these upperclassmen, and he's being coached by some regard as one of the best in terms of a quarterback developer. That's who's coaching him right now. I hope that Singleton sticks it out, and I hope Enos, if he is as good as advertised, if we do get 2015, 2016 Arkansas offense, those kind of – I don't mean the Brett Bielema 10 yards in a cloud of dust. You know what I mean in terms of production. And they will be under the center. You guys asked me what kind of offense. They're going to run. They're going to be under the center. They're going to be in pistol. They're going to be in shotgun with a running back behind him. That's basically the pistol. They're going to be in shotgun plenty. They're going to be under the center. And that speaks to development of a quarterback. That speaks to those guys in the pros and these front offices and these general managers and these head coaches. Oh, he can take snaps from under the center. That's still something that happens in the NFL, although it's kind of going the way of the dodo bird. But it's something that shows that these guys, they're going to get it all from Dan Enos. And a guy that's been around, he is well respected. You can say what you want about it feeling like a backwards Brett Bielema type hire. You could say that, and I might even agree with you. But in terms of how it sets up with these quarterbacks, I don't know, in terms of their development, that there's anybody better for the job. Now, can his offense produce in 2023? We'll have to wait and see. I will say we're still waiting on, I think, the wide receivers, and we're going to touch on that too, probably in the near future, maybe this week, maybe next week, maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe after spring camp. Wide receivers, to me, it's still kind of up in the air. There are a couple of guys that have stood out more than others. But that doesn't, how far you go with that, I don't know. Ty would love 10 yards in a cloud of dust. That's not the saying, is it? It's like 5 yards in a cloud of dust, right? You know what I mean by that offense. It's strong eye formation, offset eye formation football. Fullback here, running back there, quarterback under the center, handing the ball off. The Brett Bielema kind of offense that people don't want, despite the fact that in 2015, it did pretty well, and it was this guy that was at the helm. So I wonder if Malik Hornsby won quarterback one at QB State. I have no idea. No idea. Singleton in high school could drop dimes. I mean, they all could. All these guys could, right? It's what you do at this level now and at this point, and that's why it's so special that everything is lined up the way that it has. Upperclassmen quarterbacks in front of Singleton. Dan Enos as the quarterback coach. Now, again, that doesn't mean that I'm saying that the offense is going to be great. We don't know yet. We don't know. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Is that what it is? I don't know. I always call it like 10 yards in a cloud of dust because that's at the end of the day what you want, right? That's what you want out of the offense when you're running the ground game. You want 10 yards in a cloud of dust. It's indicating that you play a physical brand of football. You're going to hand the ball off either out of the straight eye or the offset eye formation. Maybe one tight end, maybe you play with two tight ends with lone back set, whatever. To me, 10 yards in a cloud of dust means we play a physical brand of football. It's a lot of ground pound. It's, again, coming out of the offset eye or the eye, whatever, with a fullback. Man, does anybody even recruit fullbacks anymore? Like, do fullbacks even exist? Like, where are the Mike Allstotts of the world? That 2015 play action corner route to the tight ends, chef's kiss. I had high expectations last year, and we went 6-6. Hope we have something this year against the games that matter. So Scott, you never know when you have someone like KJ at the helm what you're capable of doing and what you're capable of becoming. So, glad to hear it. Sounds like we have a good quarterback room. I think now sometimes we do this thing because Criswell's from Arkansas, and because he was a 4-star, because he was pretty highly recruited out of high school. Obviously, he went to North Carolina. Sometimes we build up someone before we even really know what they're capable of becoming. Now, I'm guilty of that because I have watched his high school film, even if it was, wasn't necessarily Texas football, right? Or Florida football. I mean, they seem to produce good talent down there, and they have a reputation. But I've seen him in person. I've seen his film. His high school recruiting film, as any of you guys have, maybe if you've watched. He certainly looks to me like someone who could build into having the it factor. I don't know that he has the it factor yet. I don't know that KJ had the it factor. He had to develop it. He had to build it, and I'm hoping that's what Enos can do for the rest of these quarterbacks, is build the it factor. You're not always born with it. Sometimes you just have to grow into that role. Connor Haywood plays fullback for the Steelers. Well, there you go. There's probably very small handful of fullbacks in the league anymore. So, yeah. All right, that is it. I thought we'd focus on quarterbacks today. I do appreciate you guys. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Any of you who are new. Again, I catch you guys all the time. You're like, oh, Ty, I finally made an account. I finally made a YouTube account. Hey, do it. Subscribe. We've already passed one milestone with 1 million total views. I don't know that I really buy into subscriber milestones to channels like this, but because I'm focusing on a very small piece of the YouTube viewing audience, very small. So I don't really buy into the subscriber count. I buy in more to the total views, right? And what kind of channel, is producing those kind of views. So this being a mostly Razorback, it's 99.9% Razorback commentary, really impressed that YouTube has found we're kind of niche, right, on YouTube. We are. And I'm impressed that YouTube even bothers to push my shorts. The shorts do pretty well sometimes. I'm impressed with YouTube on that front, but I'm not doing what I'm doing without you guys, without Patreon donors and the sponsors of the show. I'm not able to do this without you guys. And the YouTube ad revenue, even though they're real sticky with how they do things. So, yeah. Make sure you get the likes up. Ty, how is Enos teaching quarterbacks to read D's? Steven, that's a very I don't know. I mean, you'd have to ask Sam Pittman that. I don't know. I mean, he's I think what he's doing that's different from Kendall right now, I don't know that they're not showing us that they're super focused on that. It seems to me like what they're focused on is developing what they have at that position and getting these guys to understand the fundamental basics of what it is that he's asking them to do as quarterbacks. Now, I don't know what they're doing is probably in the video room, in the highlight reel room or whatever. That's probably where that's happening about reading defenses. I don't know. That's a hard question for anybody to answer. That kind of stuff is probably going down in film study. Learning to read the defense. I'm not a quarterback. I'm not an offensive coordinator. I couldn't tell you the first thing about how to read a defense. I don't know. But my guess is that's all happening in film room. I'm sure they're doing it out on the field as well. I don't know. That'd be something for someone to ask Sam Pittman. Very, very late. What's up, Paul? How you doing, man? These days, a true fullback is like Sasquatch. Yeah, that's the truth. To hear them every once in a while. I mean, my favorite thing to do on Madden on Madden football would be to create my own fullback for the Rams. Of course, I always played with the Rams, and I'd always make or I would try to trade back in the old days, the early 2000s. I would try to trade for Mike Allstott. The fullback used to be like my favorite position. I don't know why. Fullback and tight end. So, yeah. So, all right, we're done. I do appreciate you guys. There's my list. QB1 right there. You know his name. KJ. Criswell, it's 2 right now. Fortin's at 3 right now. And Singleton, whoop, there he goes. Right there. Singleton's at the 4 spot. We'll see if they grow. I think a likely scenario could look something. I mean, hell, it could look like this. It could be that. It could be Cade because he's a little bit older. He kind of knows how to work with Sam. The most unlikely scenario would be that in terms of backups would be Singleton. I think that's the less likely scenario. I think the most likely scenario is one of these two and then Singleton down here. Right now, a lot could change by the end of spring, man. A lot could change. So there you have it. All right? Okay, I hope I answered your questions. I hope you guys got something out of this. If not, I'll try better next time. All right? I will I plan on going live on Friday, but don't hold me to that. I'm trying to bring someone on for Patreon supporters on Wednesday. I'm hoping, again, this time of year, we are swamped. I've got a lot going on. You guys know I talk about that often. I got a lot going on. Sometimes it's hard to get some of these. There's just not enough content to push three hour-long lives a week. There's not enough out there. But we are starting to shift the focus too. We're going to talk a little more baseball. So we'll get into that. And of course, post games will start to come on when they get into the regionals, assuming they're in. It's hard for me to not see Dave Van Horn in a regional, but that's probably when the post game content will come along, is the postseason. So for baseball. So, all right, I think that's it. We're done. Here we go. All right, Patreon supporters, 1 million views, sponsors, Oddsole, Garage Door, Direct Service Garage Door Company, Apex Tattoo Studio. Oh, by the way, Oddsole, I didn't give him the read. I got to give him the read. Located on Emmett Street. You guys go check them out. Fantastic pies, local IPAs, you name it. They've got it on tap. Great environment, great staff. Go check out the Oddsole, located on Emmett Street in Springdale. All right. Woo pig, and I'll see you guys maybe at some other point this week or on Discord. Maybe an XP wheel spin. I don't know. Go Hogs.